When people ask me which camera I would choose if I could only have one between my Fuji X100VI, the Ricoh GR IIIx, and my beloved Fujifilm X70, my honest answer is I really can't choose just one. It's because each of these cameras has its own unique strengths, and that's exactly why I own all of them. Sometimes I bring one, sometimes I bring three of them. However, if I absolutely had to choose just one camera for everyday use, it would be a camera that doesn't exist yet, and let's call it the Fujifilm X80. And today I'm going to share what specs and features would make this my perfect camera. But before I share all those details, I wanted to take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Squarespace. I've actually been using Squarespace for over 10 years, and their templates and easy-use interface make it incredibly simple to create and maintain a professional-looking website without any coding experience necessary. My Squarespace website was an essential part of how I built my photography business. It allowed me to showcase my portfolio, share recent work on my blog, and ultimately receive inquiries from potential clients through my contact form. If you're one of those photographers relying on your Instagram profile as the sole place to share your work and build your photography business online, I would really consider making a website on Squarespace. You can visit squarespace.com/Reggie Ballesteros to start a free trial. Again, 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So because this camera is called the Fujifilm X80, you can assume it's going to take a lot of cues from the Fujifilm X70, an existing camera that was released back in 2016, and it's over 8 years now, and it's a camera that I still own and use, but it could use a lot of updating. So for the size and the form factor, I want it to match pretty much exactly the X70, which is going to be a small pocket-sized camera that has a protruding lens instead of a retracting lens like the GR and the GR IIIx. And this is because I wanted to have a compact and portable size, but still have the reliability of the actual fixed lens. So I want this camera to have the same leaf shutter from the X70 or the same technology that they're using on the X100VI. And the main reason for this is that you can have a very fast flash sync speed, much higher than 1/160th of a second, which is standard on most of the Fujifilm cameras. You can go up to 1000, 2000 without using any high-speed sync, which reduces the flash power. And of course, I still wanted to have the 28mm equivalent lens. So that is my go-to focal length. That's how I see the world in kind of wide angle compositions. It's very useful to get up and close and personal with the moments and the stories that you're documenting, as well as really pushes you to perfect your composition for architecture. You can use the wide angle to play with for layering and different types of frame within a frame compositions. The X70 right now has a f2.8 aperture, and for this Dream X80, I'd still be fine with the f2.8 aperture just because I really haven't been limited by it. But if they can somehow work their engineering magic, I'll challenge you to get a f2.0 lens with the small form factor in the 28mm equivalent focal length. I want the camera to have a tilt screen. I don't have any care for the flippy screen so that we can see selfies and that kind of thing. I'd like the tilt screen mainly because it keeps the center composition kind of in line with the axis. So if I need to do a low angle or a high angle shot, the composition and the mechanics of operating the camera are still going to be in line with the screen instead of having to look off to the side, kind of have this weird parallax that you have to figure out that I've still never really liked about my XS20 or the XS10. One of the really great features that is on the X70 that I didn't realize I missed a lot on the GR IIIx and the GR III is the built-in flash. Having a built-in flash is really great for those scenes that you just really want a pop of light, especially indoor scenes that are casual like parties and just going out, in the town with your family. Using a built-in flash kind of gives this look that I started to gravitate and really like after using a point-and-shoot film camera, my Fujifilm Class CW. I still want the Fujifilm X80 to have the X-Trans 2 sensor, mainly because it delivers outstanding color reproduction for skin tones and for oranges and reds and even the blues. It's something that you can't get on the X-Trans 3, the X-Trans 4, or the X-Trans 5 sensors. Those are very sharp. They have you know, a little bit better dynamic range and better noise performance, but the X-Trans 2 sensor, I want that rendering and I would not trade it. And that's the main reason why I keep the X70 around, even though I have an X100VI or the GR3 and the GR IIIx, which have insanely sharp sensors. The X70, just for the color rendition, is what I like. So I would like the Fujifilm X80 to have the same X-Trans 2 sensor. On top of this, to round it all out, I want the X Processor 5, just so we can have the fast autofocus, the Face 9 detect, the very impeccable white balance of the Fujifilm system, as well as the internal F-Log2 recording, because video is a big part of my workflow now, and I feel like it's a big miss that we don't have a 28mm equivalent camera, pocket-sized camera from Fujifilm that can take advantage of all the strides that it's made in videos. So a couple things that I'd like to take from the Ricoh system is if we could have a way to toggle on and off a mist filter and an ND filter. I feel being able to put that on this smaller camera would be perfect for what I need, because as of right now on the X70, I still use a hood on it, and sometimes I use a filter from time to time. I just really like the ability that they've incorporated in the Ricoh GR IIIx HDF, like being able to toggle on and off a mist filter. It sounds like a gimmicky feature, but when you actually use the camera a lot, it's something that I really love, especially because I'm already gonna be putting a mist filter or Cinebloom filter or diffusion filter on my camera to begin with. So being able to reduce the size without having any adapters or hoods is something that I would really like on a Fujifilm X80. And having the ND filter, something that I've been using a lot on the X100VI, is a game changer when it comes to going from hybrid video to photo, to have the photo not have an ND filter and swap over to video side and have an ND filter kind of like pop on automatically or with the click of a button. Another thing that I want to take over from the Ricoh system is all the Ricoh cameras have internal memory. It's not a lot of memory, but it's enough to have like 40 images, which is pretty cool because if you think about it, it's similar to almost a roll of film. For this X80, I would want at least 128 gigabyte of internal storage. I don't really understand why cameras these days don't come with that standard. They need to have that so you can just have a day's worth of photo and video, and then you can pop in the SD card if need be. And I want the SD card slot to be UHS 2. Like, let's not skimp out on putting UHS 1 cards in there, because it really makes a lot of hiccups happen on the X100VI. What I would want on the X80 is to have kind of like a control scheme from the X100F or the XT3. So having a front command dial, a rear command dial, the joystick, and the D-pad. That is probably the bare bones that you need on a Fujifilm camera to have the full functionality of all the different function buttons you want to have. And since we're talking about dream cameras, this is the one that I really would like incorporated, is if you could have an optional hot shoe mounted viewfinder that's electronic. That would be something that I would really like. They've done this on the Leica M11 to have a viewfinder that you could put on the top and kind of tilt it up. That is something that I think is super cool that I feel every camera manufacturer should be doing. And on my Fujifilm X70, I have an optical viewfinder. It's not quite as good, especially because the autofocus isn't that great, so I don't know if it's focusing correctly. So if you could give me a viewfinder that I could put on the top, then when I want the camera to be ultra compact, I'll take it apart and take it off. And yeah, I think that is my dream camera. That is the camera I would choose every day. I would feel comfortable selling all my other cameras if you just made this Fujifilm X80 camera. To make it the ultimate dream though, please make it actually purchasable, not without having a pre-order, without having to wait 3 to 4 months to just buy a camera, because when I recommend it to my audience, I want them to be able to buy it so I can look credible, right? So I'm curious, for those who made it to the end of the video, what would your dream camera be? Let us know down in the comments. Give it all the specs and bells and whistles that you want. This is a dream camera. Maybe it already exists. Maybe it's made up. And with that, my name is Reggie Ballesteros. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, subscribe for more. And I'll catch you all in the next one.